Boo game. Boo game. Boo game. You got the boo game. What's up, y'all? My name is Shut Up and Touch Your Name, aka the infamous JC. Get it? But anyways, I'm here to give you guys a review. Not just a review. Well, technically not a review, but it can be considered a review. I'll give you guys an overview of the all-new Ultimate Spider-Man. The first story arc. The boy who wanted to be Spider-Man. Or the boy who wanted to be a spider. It doesn't matter. They both have spider in the title. Before we begin this jizz, I need to take a seat. If you may excuse me. Yeah. So this will be my first ever overview of anything that's been like ever. But anyways. So yeah, let me give you a quick background history of how all new Ultimate Spider-Man came to be. You see, 2 weeks before Peter Parker died, and please, fanboys, keep in mind that this is the Ultimate Universe, not the mainstream universe, which is doing okay. With Amazing Spider-Man is doing okay, but we'll get to that another day. But anyways, yeah. 2 weeks before the death of Ultimate Peter Parker, a young boy by the name of Miles Morales, age of 13 years old, is bitten by a spider. Not just any spider, but a genetic tested spider that was made by the Oz Corporation. You know what that means? That spider was similar to the same spider that bit Peter Parker on the day he was on a field trip. Which means, you wanna know what that means? He didn't get cancer. And you know what else? He got spider powers, just like Peter Parker did. That's right, he got spider powers. He got super strength, super agility, reflexes, and spider sense. But in addition to that, he also got two new powers that Peter Parker did not get. Because this was a special spider. Wanna know why? It had the number 13 on it. 13. 30. I'm sorry if I messed it up. But anyways. Yeah. He had a number on it. And his new two powers are invisibility, which makes you go invisible and people can't see you. And his power called Spider Sting or Venom Sting or whatever you want to call it. Basically, what he does, if he comes in hand contact with you, if he touches you, it's like he freaking shocks you, and then you get paralyzed. Yeah, you get paralyzed. I'm not too sure if it shocks you or it releases some sort of strange venom paralyzing poison agent which paralyzes the victim. But you know what? Spider Sting, Venom Sting, it stuns and paralyzes people. That's the point. But yeah. So yeah, he got those powers. And basically Miles, he's a little bit reluctant to use his powers. Because he's 13 years old. You know, he's not like Peter Parker. He's not an orphan. You know, he has his family. You know, they love him. They raised him right. You know, they raised that boy. And his life is pretty good. He got accepted into a prestigious school because, you know, they were doing this freaking raffle thing in which I think is pretty darn kind of wrong, in which, you know, you have to raffle. There's a raffle if you get into a prestigious school or not. And I think that's kind of wrong and soul crushing. I think that can break a person. But anyways, Point is, Miles got accepted. He's doing good. He's keeping his grades up. His friends, you know, his best friend Gannick, who's an Asian American. You know, they're roommates basically because it's like a boarding school thing, and they go home on the weekends. But yeah. And you know, essentially Miles, you know, he's a bit, like I said, he's a bit reluctant to use these powers because, you know, normal kid. And now he comes to the decision to like, should I, you know, keep these spider powers dormant or should I use them like Spider-Man did when he was alive? So that's kind of the main conflict for this first story arc. Yeah, pretty much, not much to say, but yeah. Anyways, we got that out of the way. We got the freaking backstory, history sort of thing deal. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go, let me review, I'm gonna first talk about the story arc. I'm gonna quickly go over it. I'm not gonna do like my Spider Island review, which I'm gonna freaking redo in just one video. So I'm gonna review the story arc swiftly, talk about the characters, list the good and bad points, and then my final verdict. For things, I'm already 6 minutes in. Let's get started. Okay. Story arc. So basically, what the story arc is, you know, it's we don't see much action, and it's just action in this in the first 6 issues. You know, it's just kind of setting everything up, setting up the chess pieces, the characters. Yeah, basically the basic premise I can give is Miles Morales gets these powers, gets Spider-Man's powers 2 weeks before he dies, because his uncle, who for the longest I thought was the Ultimate Deadpool, but it's not. It's actually Ultimate Prowler, who went into Oz Corporation one night. He stole some freaking documents and formulas or whatever, and then one of the spiders, the spider with the 13, freaking snuck out and jumped in his bag where he was holding his loot. And you know, after Miles gets wins the raffle by chance, you know, to go to this prestigious boarding school thing, he rushes over to his uncle, and you know, his uncle's all happy for him. He gives him a freaking popsicle, and then the same bag that the loot is in, the spider calls out, bites him, and he goes like, ooh, he has a freaking spaz attack. Then he freaking wakes up, see his dad's right there, and Miles' dad, basically, he doesn't like his uncle, whose name is I'm sorry, I can't remember his name right now, but Miles' dad doesn't like his brother slash uncle thing, anyways, because Miles' uncle has a track record of being a criminal, and not just like, you know, gangster stuff. You know, just because he's black doesn't mean he do gangster stuff, but you know, he's done like illegal stuff, you know, government espionage. He's actually went around killing people. I'm not too sure, but that sounds like how Miles' dad is trying to say that he's kind of a bad person. So anyways, his dad freaking grabs Miles, like, get here boy, we're about to leave this bad place. And while he's walking down the street, Miles freaking turns invisible, and his dad loses track of him. And that's kind of odd. But anyways, Miles freaking turns invisible. He freaking starts running down the street trying to catch up with his dad. A freaking 2 guys with a freaking moving out a couch out of an apartment. He freaking jumps over it. He was trying to get used to his powers. Then that boy freaking passes some white gangsters, aka wiggers, and they're like, hey, this kid has an iPad, you know, let's try to be gangsters and try to steal it from him. And you know, they're trying to steal it from him, but Miles is like, no way, this is my iPad. He freaking touches that boy, and he got paralyzed, like, ooh. And that was the first victim of the spider sting, by the way. Keep that in mind. But anyways, after delivering some black justice, Miles freaking keeps running down the street, and we kind of cut over to where he arrives at his best friend's house, Gannick, who is Asian American, kind of chubby wubby. But anyways, he's trying to tell his friend like, look man, I can turn invisible. Which he can't because Miles doesn't know how to control it, which with most superpowers you don't freaking, show it off the first chance you get, Come on, Miles. Learn, read some comics, boy. But anyways, his friend's like, wow, you look retarded because he's doing this, trying to turn invisible. I'm going ghost, anything to steal. But anyways, he couldn't. Then freaking Yannick, who was playing with Legos, he's 13 years old. And you don't grow out of Legos until you're like 17. So it's acceptable for him to be playing with Legos. But then, Miles accidentally touches his freaking Legos. I think it was a starship from Star Wars he was trying to make. But anyways, he touches it and it freaking explodes. Because, his fire sting thing. His spider sting freaking sting Legos flying all over the room. I'm not too sure how that works. Maybe it's like a little electric jolt or something. Or maybe it's a paralyzing agent. Maybe it's a both. That'd be badass if he could shoot lightning. But anyways. And then, and then Yannick sees that and like, holy cow, bro. You're a mutant. Because then after he freaking touches a box, he then freaking starts to turn invisible again, his top half. And then, as you all know, well, for those who don't know, in the Ultimate Universe, the mutant crisis, well, the whole mutant problem, it's a big thing ever since Magneto freaking tried to send this giant tidal wave to destroy New York, which is in Ultimatum. Take a look at that. Really epic. And ever since Magneto tried to destroy the world with these giant tidal waves, people have been like, mutants, y'all some crazy motherfuckers. So we're gonna be prejudiced to y'all, and we're gonna, discriminate against y'all. Even though y'all not bad like the X-Men, we're still gonna discriminate y'all. So yeah, basically that. And to add insult to injury, Miles' dad hates mutants or any person with superpowers for that matter. So keep that in mind, because that's another major conflict that we all see that's gonna freaking build up or something. But anyways, so after showing off, Miles freaking runs out. He meets his dad at the park, which if you think about it, Miles' dad is kind of either a really horrible parent or a really trusting father to freaking trust his kid to walk around in the big streets in New York with all these wiggers and gangsters. But anyways, he runs to his dad in the park and they have a talk. And Miles is like, why you hating on uncle, man? Why you gonna hate on your brother? That's your brother. I'm an uncle. You give me popsicles. You don't like him giving me popsicles? And his dad's like, I tried to raise you right. I don't want you to follow like your uncle did and whatnot. Blah 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 blah. And then Miles freaking leaves. And then Miles sits on the bench. His dad freaking walks away. And Miles goes home. And he's freaking, we transition to night. He's freaking there. He's got his iPad. And then, his friend sends him a text message saying like, he sends him a little clip of the Daily Bugle, a newspaper clipping with the Daily Bugle thing. And it's basically saying that Oz Corporation made Spider-Man. Blah 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 blah. And then he's like, holy crap, I'm just like Spider-Man. And that's where it kind of ends. Then freaking move from there. Then we see those two walking down the street. They're talking about, Miles, you could be a superhero. And Miles is like, nah, screw that, man. Screw that. I'm gonna walk my own path. I'm gonna be like those cool kids, the Runaways. I have my problem with them, but we'll get to them in another video. But anyways, they're walking down the street the next day, and this freaking building catches on fire. It's burning down, and he's like, Miles, you should do something. And then Miles is like, okay. Miles then freaking takes off his shoes, because, he can stick on walls, because, you can't freaking stick on walls when you got freaking shoes. That's stupid. So anyways, Miles freaking rushes in, he jumps on there, freaking sticks on there, Spider-Man, 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 freaking gets the girl out, burning building, and he freaking jumps down, saves the girl, and then he jumps off. He gives the girl to the fireman, and paramedics. And then as Miles jumps off, he says, one of the firemen says the funniest lines. It's like after Miles jumps off, one of them is like, "I told you Spider-Man was black." The first time I heard that had me kind of freaking rolling, but it was freaking. Then after that, we see Miles puking because it was the first time he ever had to do something like that. And then Gannett is like, "Dude, you're so freaking awesome. Oh, you're so cool. Anyone can be a superhero." And then then Miles is like, "Bro, shut up. This isn't me. This wasn't made for me." So anyways, we transition then to Miles and Gannett at their prestigious boarding school where they have to stay in the building for the during the weekdays, and then they can go home during the weekends. So Miles is right there, hanging, relaxing, chilling by the pool, shooting some b-ball outside the school. Yeah. And as the weekday goes by, he's learning, he's getting his grades, being bored in class. One night, Miles actually has a dream where Electro freaking busts down his door and freaking electrocutes him, but it was like a dream, a vision thing. And some people speculate that, because I'll get to this in a second. I'll get to where this dream kind of correlates. So after he has this dream, the freaking headmistress freaking takes them to the gymnasium because the city there's a big old fight happening in the city between Spider-Man and the Ultimate Sinister Six. And basically they have to put everything on lockdown because the fight is kind of near the school and it can harm students who are in the dormitories. And then Miles and Gannett is like, what's going on? And then the headmistress freaking turns to Gannett epically and says, "Spider-Man has been shot." Yeah, that's it. And Miles is like, kind of like this right here. But anyways, so then freaking after that, we jump to the worst issue in my opinion. I think it was issue 4 or 3, and I think this wasn't necessary. But remember the dream that Miles had where Electro shocked him? I think some people say that it was kind of a vision that he could feel what Spider-Man was feeling because they're kind of connected through a freaking link because they're bitten by spiders and your Web of Destiny thing, but I don't believe that thing. I just think it was coincidence. But anyways, Miles freaking, I'm sorry. Again, we get to the worst issue in my opinion. I think Miles didn't have to go to the freaking site where Peter Parker died, because that's what the issue is. Freaking, after the fight goes down to Queens, in which Peter Parker makes his final stand against Green Goblin, he freaking sneaks out the auditorium. He jumps from building to building over there, and then he's at the freaking site where Peter Parker died. He's in the crowd basically. And here's the thing that really kind of got to me. I don't think he should have been there. I think because I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So as he's in the crowd, he sees Gwen Stacy. She's crying right there, and then for some odd reason, he goes in front of the crowd. Not in the crowd. He goes in front, out of the crowd he's in, and he freaking goes to Gwen Stacy and he's like, "Oh, what's his name?" It's like, "Peter Parker, and he believed in great power, great responsibility." See that part right there? Here's what killed the issue for me. When I heard they were making a new All New Ultimate Spider-Man, and that he was going to be African American and half Hispanic, I wanted him to get an entirely new reason as to be Spider-Man. Because honestly, yes, we get it. With great power, there must also come great responsibility. I just think that Miles should have gotten an entire different reason to become Spider-Man. I'm not saying a family member died or his uncle had to die. Don't need another one of those, but it's just that the freaking great power, great responsibility thing, I think that's been done to death. And so, you know, with Brian Michael Bendis kind of starting new, I thought, you know, he was going to give Miles Morales another reason to be Spider-Man. Because that's the reason why he became the new Spider-Man, because of great power, great responsibility. I wanted him to get a different reason, not the freaking Uncle Ben statement thing. Like basically my idea was for Miles was for him to freaking be a superhero, thinking, yo, you know, I'm gonna be freaking famous, I'm gonna swing around and that jet, I'm gonna fight crime. But you know, as he fights crime, he kind of sees the darker side of crime fighting, and that it's not always black and white. There's also a little gray in the middle. And you know, he kind of learns and matures that, you know, just because he's fighting a good fight doesn't mean he's fighting for the good cause, you know? And that way Miles could have matured on his own and freaking, you know, just be different from Peter Parker. We didn't need another Peter Parker. And again, that's the reason why he became Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. That was Peter Parker's story. This is Miles' story. Give him a different reason to become Spider-Man. I'll rant it up, I'm sorry. But anyways, afterwards, Miles goes back to his freaking dorm, as I guess they released the kids from the auditorium, and Miles is like this, like, if I helped met Peter Parker and Spider-Man, I could have been in a loop and helped him. And Yannick is all like, you know what, bro? Maybe you can still, you know, kind of make up for your mistake. And so the next day, being a good friend that he is, and I mean, Yannick's a really good friend, because he bought Miles a Spider-Man suit that is $80. $80. That's a good ass friend. I would honestly, I mean, I like my friends and all, but trust me, I wouldn't spend that much on you unless it's your birthday. I mean, unless it's your birthday, I won't mind, but just on a plain day, you know, yeah. But anyways, that's really good friend. So he gives him a Spider-Man outfit. Then Miles is all like, oh, you know, this is pretty cool, thanks for the outfit, but you sure this is in good taste? And you know, Miles is like, yeah, it's totally in good taste. And then freaking Miles puts on the outfit and freaking jumps around the roofs, and he's like laughing and crap. And then he freaking, you know, he's enjoying himself, he's thinking to himself, he's jumping around having fun until he gets into his first major fight, which was actually in issue 0 before issue 1 came out. Issue 0 showed the fight that happened in issue 3, in which he fought Kangaroo. They don't show it in issue 3, but if you want to see the fight, go get the Marvel app and go to issue 0, because issue 0 is free and you can see the Kangaroo fight. So anyways, basically the fight, you know, was, I'm sorry, I won't go into the fight. Just go to issue 0. It's better if you watch it than me explain. But anyways, kind of cut from there. Again, go to issue 0 if you want to see the fight. And then Miles is all like, whoa, that could have went better. And then, you know, the next day, the Daily Bugle freaking prints out an issue saying that, you know, there's this person trying to be Spider-Man, trying to fight crime, do justice and whatnot. And basically, him dressing up in blue and red is in bad taste, you know. He should have tried to be a bit more original. And, you know, how Miles got the black suit that you see on the cover, you know, the new awesome, sexy looking, kick-ass black suit that he has on. I honestly thought he was gonna dye the red and blue the original Spider-Man suit that he got from a costume black, but he didn't. Well, I'll get to how he got his original costume later, because it's next issue. It's the next issue after this. So freaking, you know, after Miles has a day to recover from his embarrassing fight, which he won, but just barely. But freaking, he's jumping on the roofs, la 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 la, and then freaking the boy gets waved up by none other than Spider-Woman, who is a clone of Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe. And she's like pissed off. He's like, who the F are you, boy? You dressed like me. Well, you dressed like my clone, me, who's a guy, and I'm a girl. At least I dressed original while you copied this man outfit. So, you know, freaking Spider-Woman, she's all pissed. Then Miles is trying to talk his way out of it. And, you know, he's freaking trying to remember freaking, you know, he has one thing that, Spider-Woman, Spider-Woman has one thing that, Miles doesn't have, and that's web shooters. So she webs up that boy, hog ties him, freaking straddles that boy, freaking messes around with his I'm just kidding. And then, you know, after being knocked out for like an hour, I guess, that boy freaking wakes up in a SHIELD prison cell with none other than the Ultimate staring that boy down. Except Captain America. He ain't in this. He ain't in the issue. But anyways, freaking. So yeah, they're staring at Miles Morales, and you know, freaking Samuel L. Jackson. I'm sorry, Nick Fury is right there, and he's like, "Yo, man, you black man." And then freaking Spider-Woman is all like, "You sure this ain't a clone? Cause he's black." And last I checked, Peter Parker is not black. Not that I'm racist or anything. Peter Parker is not black. Not black at all. So you know, they're having this debate and all that jazz. Then a freaking situation breaks out in which Electro, from the previous fight in with the original original Spider-Man, basically Electro is kind of recovering in at a SHIELD prison hospital thing, and you know, he freaking wakes up and causes chaos in his hangar, and you know, freaking it's a disturbance. So Iron Man, Spider-Woman, Thor, and Hawkeye go to freaking stop Electro, and you know, they freaking get there, and all I have to say, it's pretty sad. For Earth's ultimate line of defense, for Earth's mightiest heroes, y'all got your asses handed to you pretty easily. I mean, Iron Man, all Electro did was freaking short-circuited that boy's armor. Thor freaking shocked that boy. So much for the God of Thunder. Hawkeye shot that boy, he down for the count. The freaking, and you know when you suck when the SHIELD personnel put up a better fight than you? You know you trash when the SHIELD personnel, no names, put up more fight than you. Then freaking, you know, while this fights happen, while they're getting the Buddhist handed to him, freaking Nick Fury's like, you know, boy, why should I give you a chance? You know, I had a person named Peter Parker, he died, so why should I trust you, a black kid? And then, you know, he's all like nervous and whatnot. And you know, when Miles gets nervous, he freaking activates his invisibility, so you know, that boy trying to hide his piss. But anyways, and Miles is like, just give me a shot, let me prove myself. And he's like, go ahead, just don't get yourself killed. Miles goes on there, and again, it's pretty sad when a 13-year-old boy who has no formal training freaking takes out Electro. It's Electro, yeah, Electro. And I mean, all Miles did, I mean, he pretty much had the advantage in this fight. All he did was freaking turn invisible, pick up a freaking barrel, and freaking Donkey Kong that boy. He freaking threw that barrel on his head. He was like, boom! And freaking like, what the hell is that? Then all Miles freaking had to do was freaking touch him with his Venom sting, Spider sting, whatever, and he was out. And you know, he won the fight. Again, pretty sad when a 13-year-old newbie defeats a level something villain that the Earth's mightiest heroes could not. So anyways, the next day, Miles goes back to school. You know, he's all happy. He's like, yo man, I'll be Electro. I'm pretty badass. Then freaking, you know, Spider-Woman freaking sees him because she was at the school to give him the